Unicorns, some very intelligent props floating around. Picks and bans, is anyone surprised PowerOfEvil is not going to get his hands on Casio? The answer is no.
Maokai is also banned away from Odoamne. I think that's another no-brainer. To see if they adapt to this one. H2K, they have had some trouble adapting to this patch. Most of the teams in Europe have not had the difficulty that they have.
No, definitely not. And it doesn't bode well for any playoff scenarios. I believe playoffs will be on next patch 5.6, but it confirmed that closer to the time. The thing that I want to know is, what do these guys now run? With Maokai off the table, Odoamne has defaulted to Na in the past, and it's not been as effective. With Lulu off the table, with a couple of the other sort of top lane is still there. Lissandra is still available. She's fallen way out of favor in recent weeks. Last 2 weeks at least. But a slow banning phase from these teams.
Yeah, they decide to take away Hecarim. And now Unicorns do ban the Gnar, so they actually don't want to let Odoamne play it. That is curious.
That is interesting. And I can't think why. If Unicorns do not want to play a kite comp, okay, fine, because then you can't really run away from that Mega Knight easily. Alternatively, this could also be testing the depths of Odoamne's champion pool. Knowing Lulu's off the table, he's played in the past. Na's gone, Maokai's gone, Hecarim's gone. How far down does Odoamne's champion pool go? Stress was touching on the analyst desk how this was a guy that used to innovate. Yesterday, H2K first picked Annie. Against Fnatic, it did not work. And I'm happy to see them adjusting. I'm happy to see them moving away from that. But a Nidalee over a Rek'Sai, over a Sejuani, who are both up and available, mostly to deny from Kikis. Kikis' Nidalee yesterday was also pretty good, and it has been good in the past.
Yeah, Nidalee had a hiatus when 5.5 dropped in the LCS for just about that week, and then people start coming around back to it. There's still tons of jungle options, but it's kind of tried and true at this point. Never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, definitely the case. It is a standard jungler on the 5.5 patch. Safe lock-ins for the Unicorns, keeping their solo lanes together. You know, Vardags and Hylissang have gone from sort of below average duo to solid performance. At the beginning of the split, there was a lot of people sort of looking at those two sort of thinking they're the weak links in the Unicorns of Blood. And there was a few games where it actually was the case. But as the split has gone on, I don't feel like they are, you know, sort of bottom 3, bottom 4 duo. And locking that in also allows Unicorns of Love's primary carries of Vizicsacsi, Kikis, and PowerOfEvil to look for some more picks going down the line. So we'll see what they prioritize. Unfortunately, nothing revealed from H2K.
Yeah, and over on H2K's side, with the AD carrying support being locked in, Hjarnan, with the addition of KaSing, went from a good AD carry to a veritable hard carry for this team. It added another deep threat to the H2K squad, and that is still very, very daunting to take on as much as Vardags and Hylissang have improved. I'm curious to see if they go for the standard lanes, and hey, we got another Yorick. How about that?
So the question is, what carry did they put in the middle lane to work with the Yorick? Yorick as a champion works best when he can put the Omen of Death onto a sort of hyper carry. I don't necessarily feel Graves is the best option. They ran Caitlyn with it last week when they played Fnatic. Casio is banned off the table. PowerOfEvil could run Syndra, but that doesn't really work particularly well with Yorick's Omen of Death. So what carry do they put in the middle lane to keep dishing out damage from beyond the grave? Odoamne's played Mega Tanks before. He was actually the first person to play Sion in the top lane. Lost with it, in fact.
Way back, though, too. They definitely had some coordination troubles. I think this time that's long gone. I would think this would be a smart lock-in for him. And the LeBlanc for Ryu would also be fairly strong if they do decide to go with it, and they do.
So the thing that I like about H2K's comp is the fact that they do have a lot of mobility. They've got good teamfight presence. They've got good CC. They can do a lot of things, basically. The only thing that's a little interesting is how well they're going to handle themselves in terms of the Yorick, the Grave, the Nunu. How do they get past all of that sort of disengage? Yorick is such a pain in the butt. And with Sion charging down the middle lane, he's going to have all the support from Sivir. Can they manage to catch Unicorns off guard? Because they've got a very strong teamfight composition.
Yeah, if they can get the chase on, there is not too much Unicorns can do if they get caught out, but I want to see what they do take for this last pick. Curious with the Yorick, with the Cassiopeia not available, as you mentioned, they'll have to come up with something else that can spam just as much if they want to make full use of that ultimate. Wasn't sold on the Cho'Gath yesterday. I think it's got to be Syndra. There we go.
I really don't know about this. I think with the right positioning, Syndra has multiple targets. Yes, can pop Nidalee, can pop LeBlanc, even Sivir in some scenarios. The only thing that I don't like is the synergy with Yorick. Because again, you want to have something that can get a ton of spells off, a ton of auto attacks, a lot of damage in a short space of time. If PowerOfEvil has already used his full complement of spells and then gets hit by Omen of Death, not massive. You can put a couple extra spheres on the board. Yes, of course, you can always ult the Graves, but it's not a hyper carry. Graves is just going to get a couple auto attacks. It takes him a long time before he can get to quote-unquote hyper carry status, but he's not. It's not his primary role. So we'll see. This could just be a comfort pick with all of the top lane bans, with all of the focus in that lane and removing those champions. Chachi could also be pushed down his own tier list of champions. So we'll see how this plays out. I actually prefer H2K's team composition from picks and bans.
Chachi's tier list is something I would definitely like to see. I'm not sure if I would be able to decipher it, but I would definitely like to see it.
Well, luckily, it's just champions, so
yeah,
shouldn't be too difficult to decipher.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I'm just taking a look how many champions he's played. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 9 champions this split.
Yeah? All right, okay, so maybe it's not that bad. All right, now we're loading up onto the Rift. You guys know what to do. Go ahead and tweet us at UOL Esports with the hashtags H2K win or UOL win. Who do you think's gonna win today? The crowd? Well, they're certainly cheering up. A lot of hearts for the Unicorns of Love. See if it's them or H2K as we take to the Rift.
And you know what this makes me think?
Wow.
I cannot wait to hear the Unicorns army do battle with the TSM army one day.
Well, they did once.
But the question, well, times were different.
It's true. It's been a while since I am San Jose.
Even since then, Unicorns have grown. The thought that I was talking about now, or thinking, as you mentioned, the tier lists and how far down Odoamne and Chachi have to go. With 5.5, the top lane has sort of changed. If you don't get your hands on Maokai, which is probably God tier, where else do you go from there? We've not seen Rumble. We've not seen Lissandra. We're not seeing carries. Yes, there's been talk of sort of Cho'Gath top, and we're seeing some funny business in other regions, but Yorick and Sion, they're definitely not what you could consider sort of high priority picks.
Very situational. And that's the thing. These are two teams, especially Unicorns of Love, that really love to play things that can throw people off, but after a while, you start to realize what they're going for, and we'll see if it's enough to maybe keep H2K in the dark. They're not playing for as much. They've already secured that 3rd seed. However, they still want to make sure that they can face down these Unicorns, because they may face them again.
3v6, maybe eventually, depending on how playoff bracket works out, because the semi-finalists, they would be on opposite ends of the bracket. We need to topple either Fnatic or SK and meet in the final. So yeah, definitely a possibility. But you look at these two team compositions, and you've got so much more synergy for H2K. Sivir works well with Nidalee and Sion. Flanking from LeBlanc, picks with Thresh. CC. So you contrast that to the Unicorns of Love, and you've got engage from Annie, disengage from Nunu. Single target burst really from PowerOfEvil, and burst from Graves. With the Yorick to just add on. I want to see how they handle themselves. I want to see what decisions Unicorns make, because there is the potential for them to do well. Because again, they've got that extra life from Omen of Death. They've got so much zoning control and vision control from a Nunu.
And let's not forget the ghouls as well.
Exactly.
Can't forget the ghouls.
Cannot.
There it is. There's one.
Angry.
Chasing KaSing.
Angry, smelly, and stinky. Mm-hmm. That's, no, angry, smelly, and hungry. Hungry. Omen of Famine, the E, of course. Giving you some lifesteal back. Lane swap scenario. Both of these respective top laners are going to do fantastic. Of course, it is 5.5. Sion took a little bit of a hit. He can't just yell at minions all day long and instantly win his lane.
Yeah, now he's got to use his axe. He's got no tree to cut down this game. He is rocking the Lumberjack. Still hanging out with loulex for a little while. See what they decide to do. Hopping over into the Dragon Pit. Kikis is meanwhile, at his blue. H2K is looking to kick this one into high gear, moving into the jungle. Some deep vision down. KaSing, or Hylissang rather, takes a spear. loulex goes for it. There's a flash. Hjarnan just moves right on in. But Kikis is there as well. They got to be careful. Meanwhile, Ryu. It's his passive pop, but PowerOfEvil's rooted in place.
Well, 4 versus 3 in that bottom lane. We did see that loulex was backing away as well as Hylissang. Damn it, it's Hjarnan. We'll have to see how this works out. So blue buff actually secured by H2K. That's quite smart. The fact that loulex and Odoamne were able to get to the buff sooner actually means they have now 3 buff Kikis. It's not the end of the world. That's a lot of damage onto Vizicsacsi. And a smart early play. In terms of the lane swap, yes, Chachi's got some farm and some CS, but they've stolen the buff away, and they're going to try control Kikis a little bit. And we'll see whether or not loulex continues to play that aggressive invade style of jungle play with that Nidalee.
We have seen Nidalee's focus on the counter jungling and not necessarily help the team quite as much, but hopefully for H2K that's not the case. Odoamne is going to duel it out with Vardags. He gets the shout on at him. Vardags very, very low as he checked into that brush. Odoamne could pick up first blood here. Is he going to spend his flash? He's going to force Vardags to pop the heal.
Summoner heal blown. Odoamne did not want to blow the flash for that one. Playing it very, very smart. Flash auto attack. Always knew summoner heal was going to be available, so needed the burst from that shield as well.
Yeah, but it's not every day that you see the top laner bullying the AD carry in a 1v1 situation, especially melee range.
To be fair, Vardags ran straight into that decimating smash. So, chasing a Sion into a bush out of vision is always going to be the possibility of that stun. But yes, you are right. It's not a standard that you see from those lane swaps. But of course, with Odoamne going up top after that early pressure, he's getting closer to the CS numbers of Vizicsacsi. We'll see whether or not Vardags is going to swap with Vizicsacsi or not, or continue to play the AD carry versus top lane battle.
loulex, meanwhile, looking for the middle. PowerOfEvil could be in his sights, who flashes immediately. Dodges out the spear. KaSing waiting, but he's in a warded brush.
Vizicsacsi's low on mana as well, so all of the sustain and safe farming from those ghouls is going to be mitigated. Niggas pushing towards him. H2K got the numbers. Whoops.
Not sure where that hook was going.
No, nor do I. It was a predictive hook, just predicted incorrectly.
Yeah, still enough to scare him. And loulex is on this dragon all by his lonesome. He has enough sustain to take this one out. He's not getting any help just yet.
And this is all systemic from the lane swap because of the fact that the numbers advantage with the H2K and it was against the Nunu is actually very, very smart. loulex,
not sure if he can do this. Yeah, he needs some help from KaSing. There's the lantern. He's got the shield. He's got the smite.
Little close, but we'll let it slide. 6-minute dragon, level 4.
Like to live dangerously on H2K. QuickShot.
Exactly. At the end of the day, H2K have secured that 3rd place seed, so
not much to lose in that situation.
There's nothing to lose, there's nothing to gain. We know they'll be playing Copenhagen Wolves in the playoff quarterfinal. So that's going to be a big weight off of H2K's shoulders. And for this game, it's just about confidence. It's about following the basics, making sure you end with a bang, really. And again, I like that dragon play. The lane swap works in their favor. They're punishing a Nunu. You can see Kikis is close by, and KaSing lands the hook.
Yeah, but Hylissang is landing the stun. Spell shield on Hjarnan a little bit late. He gets ignited as well. A lot of fire coming out of that Annie. Kikis is now moving around. Hjarnan's a little bit low in this one. It could be dangerous
is coming
to go in.
To the lane.
KaSing stunned again. He's going to flay Vizicsacsi back, but that was the bait. Snowball is on the smite as well.
Most exciting gank ever. Ice Blast, Flash, over.
Ha 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 ha.
Odoamne.
Oh, charging up Vardags. Oh! He dodges, but loulex is also there. And the decimating smash, that's first blood after loulex pounces on him.
Well,
nicely secured by H2K.
Easy, secure kill in the top lane there. Odoamne and loulex making it count. Vardags very overextended despite the ward in the river. It simply wasn't enough. And we're going to see the top laners go head-to-head immediately after. Already, Magus enchantment completed for loulex, so that's quite an important pickup. Especially if he continues to play aggressively. Remember, it was first blue buff, looking for a tower dive. Got the gank up top. Yes, you are against a Nunu, so Nunu's never going to have the same level of ganking presence. but Kikis has not really had any sort of controlling impact yet. Lost the first dragon. Will need to make up for some early disadvantages that H2K put on the board.
Yeah, I gotta hand it to loulex for creating the counter jungle pressure and also being where he needs to, utilizing his mobility. And with the early Magus enchant, being able to rove around the map, it's gonna prompt UOL to swap back after that. You saw the teleport from Vizicsacsi, so we're back to the standard lanes, and the Lantern fake will be enough for Vardags and Hylissang to back off.
Nice psychological play from KaSing. The one thing you've also got to touch on is, as a team, H2K have traditionally been around even at 10 minutes in gold. And what H2K do is between 10 and 20 minutes, they take a bunch of towers and they accelerate their gold lead. It's something that has happened for the last 10, 12 games when they've been in that very big winning streak. And as we're approaching the 10-minute mark, thanks to the kill, thanks to some sizable CS advantages in the mid and the AD carry lane, Unicorns are falling behind in global gold. So strong start to this matchup, and you've got all of the innate synergy that H2K have with their team composition. There's the first tower.
Yeah, KaSing keep pulling that trick. And not only that, you get to think they had the first dragon as well, which wasn't spotted by Unicorns. They just not been able to trade effectively. You can see the item differential that he carries. Hjarnan on the BF sword, and now there's a flash in for Hylissang. They've caught KaSing, and they blow him up. He's trying to make his escape after On the Hunt is popped. Absolute Zero will be enough to take him down. Hjarnan now fired down, but in comes loulex, in comes Odoamne. They're gonna answer and get something back for it as well. Hjarnan, so out of that catch on KaSing, H2K net 2 more.
loulex in the right place at the right time. Teleport advantage was in favor of Odoamne. A few minutes ago, you saw Vizicsacsi TPing to the top lane after Vardags died. Because the TP was not available, H2K always had the numbers advantage, and that allowed them just to secure an easy 2-for-1 trade, I believe that was at the end. And they secured that tower, so a very smart play. And what we were saying moments before is just how you've got all this natural synergy on the H2K team comp. Once they do group, they can find picks, they can team fight. They've got a front line, they've got assassins. So for Unicorns, they have to disrupt that power play. They need to find some towers, they need to get PowerOfEvil into a place where he can pop people. He needs to destroy a Ryu or Hjarnan, or a loulex, one of the three. He'll be happy, and he's gonna have Omen of Death to do it. But if he doesn't, it's very scary.
Yeah, so far they've only managed to get that kill onto KaSing, and you mentioned in the beginning, you weren't sold on Unicorns picks, and right now I can see just why. PowerOfEvil taking some damage from Ryu, KaSing roving around now, just keeping them on their toes.
You've also got to remember, Unicorns of Love opted into the lane swap. They opted into the lane swap with Chachi plus Hylissang bottom. They left Vardags top against Odoamne. And that lane swap has not worked out really at all.
Chachi's been hoovering up the farm fairly well, but you're right, that's at the cost of having their duo lane just not really get too far ahead. Again, the item difference is fairly big. Hjarnan has just been out farming by 20 right now on Vardags. Of course, we already saw the BF sword, also now a pickaxe advantage because Vardags has not been able to back and spend his gold. And then, of course, you look at what Ryu's been doing, PowerOfEvil in the mid. It's been a little more quiet on that front, but he's creeping ahead as well. So Unicorns don't have an advantage in any of these lanes.
No, definitely not. We did see a pretty early gank from loulex onto PowerOfEvil, which cost his flash, and I think that's why the CS is down. But Ryu's jumped on PoE.
Yes, he has. Ryu, though, he's going way low.
Minions?
He gets the level up, but he goes down. The minions assist, and they trade in the mid. We said it was quiet, and then it changes as soon as it happens. Now Odoamne, can he get out? No, he can't. He's stopped by the Tibbers. He flashes away from the Absolute Zero, but they blow him up anyways. And Zombie Sion back from the dead, trying to pick up some Tibbers farm.
So good gank here from the Unicorns of Love. Cheapy loving the chance, not as happy with the play, I feel. H2K got a tower for that. So yes, they exchanged kills in the mid lane, but H2K managed to get a tower top. And it looks like the Unicorns have got their hands on their first dragon of the game. We need to look bottom whether or not Vardags can take that tower, because that would end up making an advantage to UOL, but they're still playing from behind.
Yes, they are. They definitely need these to get back into this one. The dragon should go over to them. Got a little bit close, but H2K weren't able to get there in time. Vardags still firing on this tower, but he's got to back off. The threat of H2K coming and collapsing is just getting a little too real. As he'd already overextended previously. It might be a little late, actually. He's pincered.
Dang. Vardags is gone.
Yep, goodbye. Ryu slaps him down. doesn't get the tower. They do get the dragon. Not the worst scenario for them, but H2K still playing with a fairly sizable, now extended gold lead. Yeah,
definitely the case. You can, again, just highlight the fact that H2K have been in control since minute 1. They stole the blue buff, they got the first dragon down, pushed the first tower down. You keep looking at these item differences. With the exception of Odoamne in the top lane, almost everything is slightly in favor of H2K. 15 CS in the mid lane, 40 CS on the AD carries. You've got Magus Enchantment plus Catalyst for loulex, and Kikis, of course, because he had to pick up that Sightstone early, means he hasn't even completed his Cinderhulk. So Unicorn's playing with a 3 and a bit thousand gold deficit. It's going to be a difficult climb back. And you can see is storming middle.
Yeah, Unicorns just don't want to try and take any skirmishes, and that's why, because they're just down so much gold. It's translated directly to these items. H2K know this, and they're just pushing their edge, trying to grab picks wherever they can. Ryu moves in on Vizicsacsi, can't connect enough damage, and he'll back away. Still, H2K continuing the siege now. They've got the 2 towers to none of Unicorns. See if they can grab more here. KaSing, loulex, both caught up. There's a chance. There's a Tibbers down. There's an unleashed power. KaSing with the box trying to make his escape. But loulex is already gone.
A little bit overeager from H2K. They're punished for being inside the Unicorn's jungle. PowerOfEvil pounces with his signature Syndra, blowing up loulex. Now, can they get the tower? Using Tibbers to tank it up. Hjarnan's got decent wave clear, and there's some support coming from the mid lane. A little bit late from Ryu, but he will be here in time, and he's got his sight set by Hylissang.
Oh, yep, you called it. Now Hjarnan's on the hunt, and in comes Odoamne. Vardags narrowly dodges that one, but he can't. Yes, he can. What am I talking about? He's got a flash. But still, you don't want to have to burn that for just a Sion Q. H2K, once again, punishing the position of the Unicorns.
So they end up trading kills. Remember, loulex died previously. Unicorns got a lot of damage on that middle tower before H2K responded. Teleports are available for both top laners. And H2K are continuing to set the siege up. They've got the 2 other outer towers, and they've not lost a single tower yet. So that gold lead, obviously in favor of H2K, thanks to those objectives.
Yeah, still about 3,000 for themselves. A little bit of change on top of that one. You can see the vision now. For the Unicorns, it wasn't enough. As PowerOfEvil gets jumped on, can he return enough damage on a loulex? No! As Odoamne takes him down. And even as it happens, you see that fan vote. The Unicorns fans, they're definitely the loudest.
Oh, that is for sure, but volume does not help you win games, I'm afraid. H2K.
Oh, Shachi, he's caught! And he is going down. Hjarnan will manage to pick him up. This siege now, H2K, 4 members strong, looking to push this one in. They've now grabbed all the outer turrets as it goes down after a long, long time for H2K, keeping on that one. Persevere. Ryu now pushing a wave in the bottom. There's no response from Unicorns.
Yeah, but look at the response from H2K. They're clearing through the jungle. They know they've got the numbers advantage, and they can start sieging up this next tower. 16 minutes on the clock. H2K are knocking on the 4th tower of the game.
Oh, Hylissang! Yes, he is just barely going to eke that one out. Ryu got out in time before anything serious happened to him as well. Close call for Hylissang. Oh man, meanwhile back in mid, Hjarnan's making this tower hurt too, but he's got to be careful. There's a few Unicorns collapsing on him.
We'll see what they can do. Such a difficult position for the Unicorns to be in. They are just falling so far behind. And yes, they do actually have some pretty strong disengage from the Nunu. The problem is it's not complemented with the Janna or a Lulu or a Nami even from the support role. So Hylissang needs to stun Ryu or Hjarnan directly up front in order to win a team fight. Item differences again. 60 CS difference between Hjarnan and Vardags. We touched on this 2v2 and
it's
how
massive. You see, Ayaj is already done.
Yeah.
And we just the 3 pieces. Oh, Hylissang. Oh, that was a good stun.
But we touched on this in picks and bans, how Vardags and Hylissang got bullied yesterday. And even though they weren't in a straight-up 2v2, they're being pushed around today. Not a good start for this duo lane.
Not only, going back to the items, not only is it just been Vardags and Hylissang having a rough time of it in general, but against this duo, you can see the average blade picked up. As long as that's sat on for Hjarnan, he's just going to get a little bit more ahead in the gold as long as they don't even need the extra stats to really change it out. They're going to be just fine in this, and 202 is not a terrible score for Sivir, but Ryu's in some trouble as PoE is able to pick him up. Grab both LeBlancs on that one.
So this is the scary thing, right? Because of the power that PowerOfEvil has, when he can assassinate somebody, you've got effective gold of around 7,000 on loulex, 7,000 on Ryu. Look at that gold difference. If PowerOfEvil can assassinate either a loulex or a Ryu in a team fight, that gold difference is mitigated entirely. We did see collateral damage to wave clear, but KaSing and the rest, they got the tower down.
They did. Kikis and Vardags licking their wounds back away. Meanwhile, PowerOfEvil still on the bottom side, but he's got to be careful. See H2K moving down. 5 seconds on this dragon. No one wants to get caught for this. He's going to throw the hook. He catches Kikis on the hunt for Hjarnan. Oh, they pull him in. The box is down. Vardags Kikis very low as loulex gets the pickup. In comes the Sion, and Odoamne slaps into Vardags for the kill. Chachi flashing away, isolated from the team. He's going to go down here. Surely loulex picks him up. Chachi comes back for a second try, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much. It's going to be a dragon over to H2K. It looks like.
H2K are playing with something to prove. KaSing is landing death sentence after death sentence around these key objectives. 0-1-7 in contrast to his Annie yesterday that went 0-6-1. It is day and night. H2K are using teleport effectively. You're pushing objectives. They've got dragon control once more. And as we're approaching 20 minutes, that average gold lead that H2K generally have is being blown out the water. They are outclassing unicorns in almost every decision. The only thing that's holding unicorns together, even marginally, is PowerOfEvil Syndra. Because again, you've seen, even with just the Morellonomicon and those Sork shoes, he is still blowing H2K up.
But importantly, it just seems that the rest of unicorns, in particular the comp that they built, we're going back to this now, they're just not able to do whatever it is they wanted to do with it. We haven't really seen the Yorick become effective. We haven't really seen the Kikis become effective. We've definitely seen the Ryu become effective. Is it enough to take down Vardags? Just barely not.
Oh, he wasn't in range to get the Ignite or opted not to use Ignite, but such great confident play from Ryu. You know, Ryu at the beginning of the split in LeBlanc didn't hit any of those combos. Ryu at the end of the split is now borderline game-changing. He's continually looking for Hylissang, looking for Vardags, looking for targets. And much like our previous matchup, where Corey was flanking and helped MYM win a game, if Ryu does a similar scenario with the Sivir speed up, I'm going to see some dead mythical creatures.
Yes, indeed. I've already seen 11 of them. See how many more it gets to. Ryu is able to pick up that blue buff, clearing out some more vision in the Unicorn jungle. Chachi and crew there to defend. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, though.
Look at that. Unicorns of Love lose 62% of the games when they're behind in gold. It's all about the numbers. Despite the death sentence connecting, there's no minions to follow up with a tower dive, but such great play from H2K. They know they're in a power position. They've got a teleport to Odoamne. Keep in mind, Chachi's got his own, but H2K using the lead to simply push Unicorns away. Unicorns cannot defend their own towers.
And using Ryu to intimidate. You saw how he just distorted in there and just walked at them. Able to distort back, cost him absolutely nothing. H2K secure another tower, and they look to go up top.
Yeah, look at that again. H2K pushing bottom, despite, actually not despite anything, knowing Odoamne had teleport. If action kicked off, they could get Sion to jump in there. Just because nothing did, it allows the members to rotate to the top half of the map, put some vision down. H2K have opted not to go for the tower because Ryu was shoving in the bottom lane, but the option was there. There is always a threat in multiple lanes when H2K is performing well, and this is very, very smart play that we did not see yesterday, or even last week when they lost to Elements.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they've got something to prove. Despite the fact that they've locked their spot, there have been a lot of doubts about H2K's ability on this patch in particular.
Oof, the chains hit Tibbers.
Yeah. Talk about a lifesaver there. But they are just playing so stupendous this time around. And to go into the playoffs on a high note, that is exactly the kind of confidence boost you want. Odoamne spends his ult to just get in range of the minions quicker.
Odoamne is a lumberjack and it's okay. But I think you've got a great point. H2K do have something to prove. I, for one, I said earlier today in the analyst desk, and we'll say it again, I may be jumping off the H2K hype train. I need to see more from them on 5.5 and 5.6 to relive or re-believe the hype. But you also can't deny their win-loss record, which I believe is 10-1 over the last 12 games. It's really, 11 games rather. Really, really very impressive. They need to carry that level of momentum. They need to carry this style of play into the quarterfinals. It's nearly 9,000 gold lead. H2K were baiting Baron, and it was Hylissang almost getting blown up that actually pulled H2K away. So Baron not on the table yet. Death cap completed for PowerOfEvil. There is still a possibility. Unicorns can blow up. Ryu, 9,000 gold he's worth. loulex, 9,500. 10,000 for Hjarnan. If PowerOfEvil can find one of those guys, it is a fantastic opportunity to win the team fight.
They can do that. That is the big question. They're down, though, 8,000 gold to H2K. A lot of that's in towers, a lot of that's in kills. There's another dragon in a minute and a half. H2K are not trying to allow Unicorns any openings here. Odoamne back at it in the top lane, but he's going to back away as he sees Vardags.
Yeah, and you have to give praise to H2K's vision game. They're constantly denying any wards that Unicorns put in their own jungle. H2K are playing very aggressively around the buffs, and the way they've been poising around Baron, knowing they've got a LeBlanc and a Thresh that you have to engage into, H2K playing the Baron game. Ryu, he wants Chachi.
He always wants something, and Chachi's caught in the chains, forced to flash into his team. Again, for the cost of a few spells from Ryu. And going back to him, this is a player who bounced around a fair amount after his OGN days, and now he's starting to look like the Ryu, maybe not quite back to that legendary level that he was, but he's getting a lot closer than what everyone saw of him even early on in this split.
Yes, I completely agree. And it's what H2K needed. And we'll see. We do hear On the Hunt is down. Odoamne, he's found Hylissang.
Into Hylissang he goes. The axe goes down. The hook comes out. And Hylissang is just locked up. Back to Fountain.
Unicorns split up in the wrong directions. Again, the jungle is not their own. Unicorns are trying to gain some semblance of control. And H2K are disallowing it. The Baron bait took 3.5 minutes to eventually conclude, but H2K have always had their sights on these towers. And again, while the top are grouped and pushing, look at Ryu. He's shoving out the middle lane.
Look at that bottom wave. That one's already happening. Vizicsacsi getting caught again. He's flayed back in. They're going to walk into it. Kikis walks into the axe. And now Chachi holds himself as he comes back to life. But they've got to make it work here. Ryu has joined the fray. Unicorns are just not playing together right now, and Ryu's just waiting for the opportunity, but he dashes out.
Stood right on a ward, manages to get away. loulex has found Kikis.
Yeah, Kikis is going to burn his flash. There's a spear, nearly takes him down. Oh boy, that could have been a lot worse for the Unicorns.
That chunk is so important. If H2K commit to this Baron, you know Kikis is 1.5 miles away. He needs to go back to the fountain and regen. Look at the rest of UOL. They're trying to get in range. Flash and Tibbers is available for Hylissang if they want to commit, as is Flash and Unleashed Power from PowerOfEvil.
But are they going to be able to do it? Will they take the opportunity? It's too late. Baron is down. And H2K have come up with another big objective on the map. 11,000 lead ahead.
Baron, 2 dragons. This might be a consolation Drake here for Unicorns.
They can even get it. Ryu's still here.
I think they got the numbers to pull this one off.
He's not going to try anything that crazy.
Ryu may look for some stragglers. Anyone hanging around the side, but you can see PowerOfEvil chilling in that banana bush. If Ryu had walked through the river, PowerOfEvil would have popped him. But all of that vision and the Baron buff should actually allow Ryu and the rest of H2K to finally get this inner tower. It's taken a little while. There's no one from Unicorns to support, nor is there a teleport available for Vizicsacsi. And with all the vision, Ryu's just going to be uncontested in this top lane. Such smart play. See, this was the team that was the best in Europe. This was the H2K for the last 3-4 weeks that had the winning record, that was taking down the Giants. But for some reason, they went away for a few games.
You could call it patch jitters, but whatever the reason, H2K, they're proving that they're back here just in time for the playoffs to begin. Unicorns, unfortunately, they met the H2K that had their eyes set on finishing this one strong. Big spear.
Massive spear, but look at this. 1-3-1 push. 10,000 gold lead, 12, wow, even more, with Baron buff. Ryu can assassinate basically anybody. You've got Odoamne, who's got their teleports available. Unicorns of Love cannot fight a 5v5. They sure as hell can't fight a 3v3 or a 1v1 because they're just outclassed and out-itemized.
Yeah, look at how low that tower was taken. Meanwhile,
but look middle.
they managed to grab the one in the mid, so they got something out of it. Even so, Odoamne still on the bottom. Hylissang, he's caught loulex up. Can they get him out of there? He's going to be able to hop his way out. Didn't even need the lantern. Now there's a Tibbers down.
Yeah, flash Tibbers. The
no
engage
flash,
from Unicorns is not there. It's all going to be on PowerOfEvil to land a stun. H2K, really rudimentary siege. Using Baron buff the way it was intended.
Very, very smart, methodical play from them. They grab themselves an inhibitor. Unicorns of Love base. It's in shambles as Odoamne moves his way to the bottom inhibitor. Unicorns, they're not able to defend this one up in the top either. H2K, they're running, they're taking everything. They've been forced back for the moment, but they'll be back and in greater number.
Yeah, definitely the case. Look at loulex, he's pulling aggro in the middle. Odoamne sieging the inhibitor on the bottom. Unicorns have got so many threads they're trying to hold on to. It is just coming apart at the seams. Inhibitor number 2, is it going to drop? Finally it drops.
Odoamne takes the axe to it. Inhibitor number 3 is going down.
KaSing flash
and in comes Odoamne. Vizicsacsi is going to be picked off here. This could be the final fight of the game as he comes back to life for a brief time. But none of the other Unicorns are following him in there, and he'll go down. Back to the grave. Vardags has already been there for a little bit. H2K showing no signs of letting up. The Super Minions are going to start streaming into the base soon, but they're not going to wait for it. Hylissang trying to get the stun off. He eats a whole lot of damage off the back of it. Nexus turret starting to be fired down. Odoamne gets the stun onto Kikis. The Minions are in. This looks like this is going to be H2K polishing this one off unless Unicorns of Love can do a miraculous save. Kikis with the absolute 0. It won't be enough. It gets interrupted at the end. The Nexus is now bare. Kikis is caught up. The box is down. H2K just never ran out of steam, and they're firing it down unless the Unicorns can push them back.
I don't think they can, but they're going to do the best. Super Minions pouring through all 3 lanes. Baron buff is worn off, and Unicorns, they're trying to do a defense, but it might not be enough.
Oh, Hylissang's caught. KaSing picks it up. Vizicsacsi moving back out of the way, but Hjarnan still wants to pick him up, manages to grab it as Unicorns try for a last desperate move. They are just getting melted. Unleash the power on Odoamne, but he'll be back for a moment. PowerOfEvil back to Fountain, but there's no one here to defend the game. 30.5 minutes in, H2K, they've cemented their spot, but they're gonna take down the Unicorns too.
H2K did what the 2 Unicorns, what Fnatic were unable to do, kill the Nexus. And very, very importantly, removes the possibility of a tiebreaker for the Unicorns of Love.
We have that now cemented. H2K end on a high note with this regular season of the Spring Split. Much relief, even if they weren't playing for any seeding. Very happy with how that turned out.
Sheepy's face said it all. Really, really did. All smiles for H2K, and Unicorns don't seem in the worst of spirits. They finished 5th in the Spring Split. Gambit will have the higher seed in their quarterfinal. And for H2K, you know, it's a glimpse of how good they can be. This is just the play. It took about 4 minutes after securing Baron to finish the game out. They had every inhibitor, every turret on the Nexus. They won the team fight. Just very, very smart heads-up play when H2K are ahead.
Yeah, really can't take anything away from them that game. Super methodical, super intelligent. They didn't give anything up, and Unicorns weren't able to execute on their usual chaotic playstyle.
Massive, massive questions for the Unicorns of Love, starting with the draft. Don't really like the Cho'Gath yesterday. Maybe it was playstyle that cost them. That could be up for debate. Today's composition, even more confusing.
The Yorick barely ulted anyone but himself.
Correct. 0-5-1 for Vizicsacsi. And the bigger question for me, how is Vardags going to bounce back? He struggled yesterday against Freeze. He struggled even more today against Hjarnan. In a 30-minute game, only 186 CS, 1-6-2. Now again, H2K got ahead early. They pressed that advantage. He was never given a chance. So I think a lot of the praise goes to H2K. But you cannot deny the fact that in 30 minutes, that is not a performance you need from an AD carry to be able to carry.
It's very true. And it's so hard to pin the Unicorns down. I mean, one game they just looked miraculous. The next, they didn't look terrible this game by any measure, but they just weren't allowed any in, and they just got systematically beat down.
Yeah.
It was a for sure lockup. But, you know, and that's the thing about the Unicorns. You can never really predict which one is going to show up on a given day. And we saw that in the graph yesterday, just up and down, consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, definitely the case.
Yeah. Now, with that loss, as we mentioned, the Unicorns of Love